Right. Good evening. So last day we have discussed about data structures, and then we discuss about this up to data structure set. And today my plan is to start file handling. Right. Today, let's start file handling part in Python. So up to now, what we have learned. Up to now, what we have learned is actually how to do input, memorize, process, and output. So that is what we learn. මේ වනතුරු අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තේ input එකක් ආදානයක් අරගෙන input එක memorize කරනවා. Keep it in the memory temporary, తాවකාලිකව memory එකේ තියාගෙන නැත්නම් RAM එකේ තියාගෙන then process it. ඒක අපිට ඕන විදිහට සකස් කරලා process කරලා and so we learn how to display or produce the output. So that is the only thing we learn. But we need kind of permanent storage to store the results. That is the nature of any software. Software wala ona apita we need a method of storing things permanently. Otherwise, after processing, what will happen? After processing, you will lose, right? After that, after the processing, you will lose the information. So if you don't want to lose the information, you have to store information and you have to keep the information in either in a file or database. There are two ways to store the things. So either you can store this in file, that is also there in your syllabus. We will learn how to save things in a file, and also how to save in a database. That is also there in the syllabus. Both are there in the syllabus. Okay, so please write down under file handling. Under file handling, please write down the simplest way to save an output produced by Python program is using a file. Right? So in addition to that, we have more standard way of saving the results of processing by using databases. So we have two ways of storing things permanently. Number one, using a file, that is simple. Number two, using database, that is capital. That is also simple, right? That is also simple, but anyway, you need some technical knowledge about database management systems. But for files, so you regularly use files, no? You're using these files regularly. So using files is easy and straightforward. But using database, you need to know some other languages like SQL, database management systems. Okay, there are two kinds of files. So after that, please write, there are two kinds of files. File varga dekak tiyena. So one is text file, the second one is binary file. Text file is a file which is having only letters, numbers, and symbols. Anyway, readable. So text files are readable. So it has letters, numbers, and symbols. But in addition to that, in binary file, so it can have letters, numbers, and symbols. And it might not have letters, numbers, and symbols. So it can have or cannot. It may have or not. But in addition to that, it has either music or graphs or shapes or pictures or many of these. So many other content. So we call binary files. Within I have given how to open a file, how to open a text file, and how to open a binary file. So please write down this, and then I'll show this practically, and you can also start coding. First of all, please write down this. Right? How to input. You know how to input, how to process, how to memorize, and how to output. But we need another thing. Computer එකේ තියෙන තවත් feature එකක් තමයි storage. Computer එකේ input කරන්න පුළුවන්. input අපි පාවිච්චි කරා. Using input, we have input binaries, we have input numbers, letters, text, many things we have input. We stored in memory using variables, different type of variables, different data types, and different data structures like list, tuple, dictionaries. Yes, we have processed arithmetic, logical, comparison, bitwise, assignment operators we used to process, and we output by printing in various methods and also by visualizing. Now the final stage is we need to store and we need to communicate as well. The networking part is not there in the syllabus, right? But storing part is there. For the storing part, there are two technologies. Technology number one, files. Technology number two, databases. We have to learn both. How to store using files, how to store using databases. So today we are going to learn how to use files to store. Again, when you analyze files, there are two types of files. Files are number one, text file. Text files are having letters, numbers, readable characters or symbols. Binary files. Binary files are text files text it may have or may not have the text. But in addition to that, it has pictures, maybe only picture. It has graphics, graphs, shapes, music, or any other content. But maybe executable binary, exe like that. So all these are binaries. Let me know. Okay. So I'll write some examples also, right? So before writing this, maybe you can write some examples. So after this also you can write examples. Text files. Can you tell few examples for text files? Binary files. Few examples for text files. Yes. One is txt. Any other? Txt is a text file. Any other text file? Yes, guys. Come on, you have to answer. Other than txt, any other text file? You are sending in chat. You can talk, right? Mic එක වැඩ නම් කතා කරන්න. PDF is not a no. Doc is not. PDF is not. අයියේ. Doc වල තියෙනවා මේ Word file වල බලන්නකො graphic දාන්න පුළුවන් නෙමෙයි. So you can store graphics in Word files. Here we have added some graphic print screen screenshots. කොහොමද? දාපුව මේ තියෙන්නේ. ඊතල දාන්න පුළුවන් මේවා text එක. No graphics. Symbols. So these pictures, screenshots, you can embed, right? So those are not text files. Here you can see screenshots, graphics are there. So those are not text files. Word non text නෙවෙයි යන්නේ අම්මෝ. Word text කියලා තියෙනවා මේ අර මොකේද මේ තියෙන්නේ. These graphics also can be embedded. Word text කියලා තියෙනවා 6 වසරේ පොතේ. That is also wrong. Word is not text file. Word is a binary file, right? MS Word or docx. docx or doc or xls. All these are binaries. xlss, ppt, pdf. All these are binaries. Why PDF can contain graphics, illustrations, images. JPG is a picture file. MOV is a video file. MP3 is an audio file. MP4 is a video file. So all these are binary. A lot of binary files are there. So what are the text files? Text files මොනවාද? දන්නේම නැද්ද? Python මොනවද? py. Text the binary. Python වල ලියන්න පුළුවන් the graphic. Python වලින් graphic පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි code වල graphic ලියන්න බෑනේ. So Python is text file. එතකොට ඔයාලා ඉගෙන ගන්න HTML වල ලියන්න පුළුවන් text විතරයි. HTML වලින් අපිට images පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්, videos පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්. But we can only write text. we can only write text in py. HTML we can only write text. By writing text, we can include graphics and other files, but you have to write everything in text. Okay, anything else? Log files, text file, logs. You can write log files. Log files are text files. What are the log files? Log files are the files which keep details. When this application is opened, when this is closed, when this activity is done, when saved, when modified, likewise, it keeps information. And so anything Java. .java file is a text file. There's a programming language. Java file is a text file. What else? The almost all the programming languages, text files. There's a file called comma delimited version, CSV. It's a text file. Comma delimited, comma separated file is a text file. And anything else? Right, okay. So these are examples for text files. Okay, you have, so let's finish the note. Let's finish the note by writing these text files and binary files. And if you're done, please let me know, then we can discuss the file modes. Next subheading, file modes. Finish writing this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then the file modes. So there are three main file modes. So one is R for read. And then second one is W for write. And third one is A for append. Append means adding to the end is called append. Here, adding to the end, append. Read, write, and append. If file is binary, letter B is also used. If file is binary, letter B is also used. Plus indicates both read, write options. Okay, that is the summary of file modes. I'll show you how internet shows this. මම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් වල පෙන්නන විදිහක් කියන්නම්. ඒක දිග වැඩි. ඒ හින්දා තමයි මම මේ කෙටි ක්‍රමය දෙන්නේ. That's why I have given this short method. So you can just go to the tutorials point and see it's lengthy, right? ඒක ලියන්න කිව්වොත් එහෙම ඔයාලට note ලියලම පණේ. ඒ විදිහට ලියන්න කිව්වොත්. But so this is the simplest way of remembering this. Okay, when you read file pointer at the beginning of the file, read කරනකොට මුලින් read වෙන්නේ. When you write, again file pointer at the beginning of the file. When you append, file pointer at the end of the file. You can read කරද්දී file pointer එක මුල තියෙන්නේ මේ වගේ. When you write also, file pointer is at the beginning. But when you append, file pointer is at the end. That's why it's appending to the end. Okay, this is how internet shows. But this is how internet shows about this. Python file modes, say tutorial, use point. And here this one, I would just want to highlight these are the file modes available. Here you can see R, read only, RB, read only in binary, R plus, read and write. Then RB plus, read only in binary and write. Read and write in binary. එතකොට හතරක් හදා ගන්න පුළුවන්. R is read, B එක දැම්මම read in binary, plus එක දැම්මම read and write, RB plus, read and write in binary. එතකොට W එකටත් එහෙම. W, write, WB, write in binary, W plus, write and read, WB plus write and read in binary. Then A, append, AB, append in binary, A plus, append and read, then AB plus, append and read in binary. There are 12 modes altogether. Do we need to write this 12 or that is enough? So what do you think? Do we need to write all 12 modes or what do you think? You have to tell. Okay, your silence means I'll give you this, right? So what are the modes? R, RB, R plus, RB plus, then W, WB, W plus, WB plus, then A, B, A plus, AB plus. Okay, these are the modes. All together, these are the 12 modes. Okay, now let's try to read a file and let's try to write a file. Let's try to append a file. So in the coding. Right, I'm going to open the coding interface, which is my IDLE. IDLE. Right, in the IDLE, okay, now I have opened the IDLE. I'll take a file new and I'm going to, first thing I'm going to read a file. First thing I'm going to read a file. Okay, so you have to give a file name or the reference. This is called a reference or file name. So first let me use our shell. Ideally, I'm shell use in the shell, you can say, okay, file, let's say f equal open. Then you can give the path of the file. Path of the file. So one way of giving path of the file, you can give the full path. Mulu path එකම දෙන්න පුළුවන්. File එක තියෙන සම්පූර්ණ path එක. Okay, let's save this as a test. I'm going to save test කියලා ලියලා මේක මම නිකම්ම save කරනවා. File save as. I'm going to save this file in my documents. Okay, documents. I'm going to save file reading.py. File reading.py. And you can see the full path. When you save in Mac, basically it's showing the full path. So is Windows showing the full path when you save a file? I'm not sure. I think it's not, right? Windows වලත් notepad එකේ file එක save කරාම full path එක පෙන්නනවද? So I don't think, right? It's not showing, no? You have to write like C users, yes, C users, something, then desktop. Likewise, you have to write the full path. Anyway, this is showing the full path. I'm using that. So if you are using Windows, you have to use like this. C, maybe users. Let's say C users Sachini, desktop. Maybe hello.txt. So this is how you have to use if you are using Windows, right? Because I'm using Mac, I'm using this Linux path method. So starting from the root, then users. In Linux, capital simple matters, so I have to write the correct capital and simple. In Windows, it doesn't matter. Then the documents. Okay, I'm going to use same reading file reading.py, same Python file. I'm going to read the Python file itself. The same Python file I'm going to read. Okay, no errors means your file is there. I can check type of F and it say it's IO, text IO wrapper. IO means input output. So basically it's a text file. Then I can say f.read, and I can print the content of this, and you can see test is printed. This is the file test, and the next line text කියලා මම ඊළඟ line එකට ගිහිලා ඉන්නේ. Text and next line will be printed. This is how you read the file. Please try this in your computer. So if you don't know how to give the path, please ask me. I'll guide you, right? තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් අහන්න. I'll guide you. මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කියලා දෙන්නම්. I can see your screen using Zoom. You can share your screen. Then I can guide. Please do this. If you're okay with this, I can move to the next one. Make okay now. Okay with reading file? Still trying, right? This file reading is magical, right? You can do many things with file reading. So especially if you are interested in hacking or if you are interested in security, you can do the magics with file reading, right? So in Python, there are ways to read files which are online. Internet වල තියෙන files කෙලින්ම read කරන්න පුළුවන් Python එකේ. URL එකක් දීලා, browser URL එකක් දීලා, you can directly read the file from the browser. So there are ways, right? By doing that, so some information, some websites are not giving some information, but you can read that information by analyzing the responses and requests. That is for advanced usages. So you can send the requests to the server and you can get the response and read that. Using Python, you can do that. So I have created a small Python program, only 10 lines, 15 line code. Right? There was a website, and that website was giving details, right? Giving details when you type the index number. So I wrote a Python program to send those requests because I was lazy. So I was lazy. I don't want to copy one by one. I wrote a Python code to copy everything. Right? Something like this. Okay, let me show this as example while you are trying and show this as example. So let's say commercial bank branch network. Right? It's available, right? This is not hacking, but like, so you can call web strapping කියලා කියන්නේ web පූරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ. So commercial branches, you can see letter A එකෙන් මේ ටික තියෙනවා. Right, when you go here, let's see. From letter A, you have these branches and their telephone numbers. From letter B, you have another set. B එකෙන් ගියාම from letter B another set. Letter C another set. Right. Letter D another set. So this was headache for me. I just need everything. I wanted from letter A to letter Y, all the branches, contact details, or the email addresses. All the branches, email addresses, and the contact numbers. So reading one by one and copying this, it was headache. So what I did, I wrote a web stretching tool using this URL reading option. I wrote a web stretching tool to get all the telephone numbers, contact details, and telephone numbers, contact details, and emails. That is where this is really useful. Okay, you can write these kind of programs, but after the exam, right? First focus on the exam, do the exam correctly, and then after the exam, you can focus on these unwanted activities. Not now. Exam again, pass it. Finished reading the file, or do you have any doubts? හිතන ඔයාලා කතා කරන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්න එක්ක තරහ වෙලා ඇති. එක්ක ඔයාලට doubts නැතුව ඇති. එක්ක ඔයාලට හිතා ගන්නවත් බැරි වෙලා අදින්න මොනවා. What has happened? Why you are not talking? Yes. Metuli finish. Oh, finally. Sorry, still doing.
Still doing.
Right. Okay. Do this quickly. If anyone need help, why don't you ask? I know there are some students who cannot do this alone. Samaron doubt තියෙන්න පුළුවන් කරන විදිය. So why you are not asking? You would like to try alone. අනියෙන් try කරලාම බලන්න කොහොමද? Okay, the next easiest way for this is giving the related path. Right? File reading, easiest method is giving the related path. Related path means you know this file reading.py, this file is in documents. So let's say in your document there's another file. So let's go to documents. In documents you can see here there are some other, like for an example, tuples example.py. We did last day, tuples example.py. So I just want to, this is my file and this is the tuples example. Same file, same folder. If files are there in the same folder, you can give the related path. That means you can say F1 or the file open, same folder, no need to give the path then. Because it's in the same folder, you can say tuples example.py. හැබැයි ඇත්තටම තියෙන්න ඕන file එක. Don't just write, because if you don't have the file, don't write it. Here physically I have the file. දැන් මගේ file එක තියෙනවා. tuples ex_ex.py කියලා file එකක් තියෙනවා documents වල. That's why I'm writing this. And I need that file in the read mode. Read mode. So which I have not given previously. මම නිකම්ම දුන්නේ. So anyway, default mode is read mode. If you have not given, default mode will be read mode. Right, then I'm telling, okay, print f1.read. Read f1 and print it. Then I'm running my code. And when I run my code, you can see everything in that, oh, it's a very large file, it seems. Everything in that file is read and printed. Everything in that file is read and printed. So this is how it's done. So only few lines, right? Only a few lines. You can just write. If file is in the same location, you can give the file name only. So anyway, the related path. Right. Okay, so while you are trying, I'm trying another thing. I'm trying to, I'm stopping reading this file. I'm not printing the file. So instead of that, I'm trying to read line by line. I can say for line in F1, for line in F1, then I can say print that line. For line in F1, print that line. Then if I run this code, you can see it's moving line by line. It's printing line by line. Everything will be read, but line by line. So instead of line, you can use anything, right? Failure කියලා ලිව්වත් command. Failure in file, print the failure. Then, so you can write any variable, right? So otherwise you will think line is a keyword. No, line is not keyword. It's just a variable. You can see it's printed. For failure in file, print failure. For print for ABC in file, print ABC. For print line in file, print line. Print A in file, print A. For A in file, print A. Anyway, it will go line by line and print the file. Okay, please try both methods. How to print everything or how to print line by line. First, how to print everything. Then print line by line. Okay. There's another way to print. The third way is you can say for, or so we can say for K in file, for K in F1, you can say print F1 dot read line. You can say print F1 dot read line. That is another way. Okay, let's use a simple file, right? Otherwise, you are like just a lengthier file. No, I'm using a very simple. I'm going to use a simple file. So let's go to the document and create a text file, right? Otherwise, this will be very complex. So okay, let's create this a text file. Hello, say hello .txt. It's a text file. Use txt and I'm going to edit that. In say hello.txt, I'm going to write few lines. Dasun, Nilanjana, Sirimevan, and hello. Only 4 lines are there. So this is say hello.txt. And I'm going to use that file. Say hello.txt. Then run the code. Okay, you can see. Let's close this, right? The first one, first loop. Okay, here. First loop is reading 1 by 1. Print page will print page by page. Let's comment the first one. And let's try to execute the second one. Second loop is executing, okay, the same thing, but you can see F1.read line, Nilanjana and hello. So it's skip Dasun and Dasun, Nilanjana, Sirimevan, hello. It read, skip this one, read this one, skip this one, read this one. So what is that? Why is that? When I'm trying to read that, it's reading like this. Because this is stepping, this is going line by line, and this is also going line by line. That's the reason. But you can use something like this. Print F1.read line, F1.read line, F1.read line, and F1.read line. So if you use something like this, then you can see it's printing 4 lines. But loop එකක් use කරද්දී අර file එක දාන්න එපා loop එකට. You can say for K in range 4, and you can give 1 line. Because now you are reading 4 lines. Now you are reading 4 lines. Not every line. You are reading 4 lines. Because 0, 1, 2, 3. It's going 3 times. Now you can see it's printing each and every line. And here, if I say I need 2 lines for K in range 2, it's reading only 2 lines. So likewise, you can limit. Right, let me comment. This is reading everything. Then the second method, reading line by line until, so line by line every line, or each and every line will be, each and every line will be read. Here, third one, limit the number of lines. Third one, limit the number of lines. This is the first one, this is second one, and this is the third one. So you can write this in your note. Add this to the note. How to read. Right? How to read. This is opening. Read in everything. Read line by line. Or limit the number of lines and read. Please add this to the note. Okay, if you don't have doubts, I assume that you understood, right? එහෙම නැත්නම් doubts තියෙනවා නම් අනිවාර්යෙන්ම එවන්න. If you have doubts, please send. If you don't have doubts, I think you understood, right?